So there's a reason we have our mantra for Held Together, which is improv for life, because it really applies to everyone. Anybody who has a need to communicate at any point in their life, which is everybody really, can benefit from the tools of improvisation. And, you know, the reason is what improv really allows is the ability to be understood, to be heard, to be listened to. And when it comes down to it, that's what we all really want more than anything, is to be heard. And improv allows that. It by using that philosophy of acceptance, you may not always be on the same page as someone, but you're going to acknowledge, yes, I understand this is your take on something, and I'm going to allow that and embrace it. And I'm going to offer my take on it. I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm going to continue to explore this. And why this is so important is it allows for brainstorming. Most of the corporate work I do is because people want to be heard and allow a brainstorming process. So many ideas get poo-pooed right away, but what would happen if we explored it before we play devil's advocate and shut it down? It helps you take risks and get away from the fear. You say, okay, well, what happens if we did do this? What if I commit to this right now? And every time you get on stage, it's the most exhilarating and scariest moment of your life. So I think that as a performer, think about what it's like for someone that is not a performer to get up there, to present themselves, take those risks and say, wow, I did that. You get used to building that habit of committing and taking risks. And what that does is whenever we're in life and something comes our way, which is unexpected, which is really, to be honest, all the time, because life is unscripted, it's improvised, you can use these tools to say, okay, let's face this, let's go with it and see what happens. And I think that continual habit building of taking risks ends up, making someone lead a more fulfilling life that is, based with the excitement of confronting challenges, expecting them and seeing how you can do things that you didn't think you were capable of before. Looking forward to that.
When did you first hear about Held Together? Why did you want to be part of the Held Together company?
I heard about Held Together in about 6 years ago in the Park and Rec paper flyer. And I signed up for an introduction class at the park. And I felt like I walked into a world I left when I was a young person and never found again. And there it was waiting for me. And I signed up, and 6 years later, I never looked back. I found my people, and I found a lot of joy and a lot of friendship and skills that take you through every day of your life.
I was looking for something to do on the Meetup app, just a local community wanted something to get involved. I was quite frankly kind of bored, just working and doing all the normal things, but wanted a community to be a part of. And I took a class that was in 2018 and have just enjoyed it so much. Very much like Mary Beth said, felt like I found my people, found a community, and it's just it's a group that it's super Long Beach, if that makes sense. There's people are just supportive of each other. It's exceptionally diverse, and it's just a great place to be.
I had studied improv before Held Together and was looking for a new place close to home, South Bay or Long Beach. And my sister came across Darren and Held Together at a First Friday performance and brought the information to me. And so I signed up for classes and haven't looked back since. And like the others have said, it just a real sense of community in addition to, learning and broadening your skills.
I went to a wedding with my then fiance, and it was her aunt and husband Rod, and they did some stand up, and I was so excited about their performance. I asked them where they went, where they learned, and Rod was really supportive, and he sort of steered me toward Held2gether. Even though they never went to Held2gether, I found Held2gether through their inspiration. And from the first time I walked in the door, like you're hearing, I felt very comfortable, much at home. It was an opportunity for me to learn and explore many facets of myself, energy and emotions that maybe I was afraid to project in real life. I could do it on stage, and it's just amazing. It's transformed my life in ways that, you're hearing about from my fellows.
I guess I'll go next. I think about 5, maybe 6 years ago, I was just looking to do something to get out of my shell. I'm very much an introvert, and so I just Google searched improv classes in the LA area, and some of the bigger ones came up, like UCB or Second City and stuff like that. But one of the smaller ones was Held2gether, and they had like the cheapest classes and like the greatest reviews. Like all the reviews were like 5 stars, and like this is nice, is comfortable, that they're so warm and welcome. Everything you've heard here, people will say online. And so when I got to the classes, I got exactly what everyone was saying, and yeah, it's been a wild ride since.
Okay, I'll go. I relocated here to Long Beach about 10 years ago, and a couple of years into my relocation, I was wondering, there must be theater people here. I wonder where all the crazy theater people are, And I went online, and I acting class, Long Beach, and nothing came up. It was all Los Angeles, and I frankly didn't want to schlep to Los Angeles. I was still teaching at the time, and I thought, this is not what I want to do. And Held2gether popped up, and I thought, oh, improv. And I had done that, but it wasn't really successful. And I thought, well, maybe I should try this again. It's going to be a challenge. So I signed first I went to see them perform at Hot Java. And that was when I said, okay, yeah, I want to do this. And so I signed on, and God, that was it, and it was hard. It was a real learning curve. And I feel like it still is, and sometimes, but boy, it's just wonderful to come together with some people and not have to think about anything else but what we're doing here at this moment right now. It's like a meditation, and it's very healthy. It's practicing self-care.
Yeah, I have to echo that. It very much is an act of self-care for myself. I was really involved in the performing, acting, theater scene for a good 10 or 12 years of my life, and then I switched over to a day job because it's a hard way to make a living. And similar to my peers, I just the grind, it just chips away at you, and I just was really yearning for that creative expression. And so I just started searching like everybody else. Basically, I was Googling and going on Meetup and Yelp, and I'm a huge review guy. So I was looking up all the reviews like Neil, and I didn't want to go to one of those big schools because there's just so much competition, and I had done that for a good decade, and I didn't want there to be any stress, any competition. And the cool thing about Held Together is that that's none of that's there. It's such a supportive community. Everybody's in it together. It doesn't matter what level you're at. You know, it was just such a nice place to begin again fresh. And it was very welcoming and supportive. So yeah, I'm just that's sort of what brought me there, and I haven't looked back either.
So I started going to Held2gether about 3 years ago. For me, it was more for professional reasons. I wanted to improve on my public speaking. I've done Toastmasters before and kind of went through that course. And then I thought, you know, people have said, you know, try improv. It's also another avenue to work on your public speaking. So I thought, okay, this might be fun. And I thought I'll do it once and then I'll be done with it. And I'm still here. So, you know, I really love the community. Darren and Richard, they're just such great teachers and very supportive. And I'm just very appreciative of Held2gether. So,
why is it important to have a local improv in Long Beach, and how do you think it has helped the community?
I'm happy to start with that because I very much am a homebody. Even in other things, I want something that's local, that's easy to get to. Like I think exactly like Anne said, the effort of getting to LA, even though we're within reach of basically anything that you want, is that doesn't provide the experience that I'm looking for. I wanted to be in a place that was in my community, and you know, like Brian mentioned too, that it wasn't about competitiveness or any of that. It was getting better because you had a chance to you know, work with other people and learn from others. But to me, the community needed to be built in, and so it needed to be in Long Beach for me.
And adding to what Aaron said, I totally mirror exactly what he said, but adding to that, for me personally, when I started, I was still working then as a nurse case manager in a situation that was very isolating and kind of polarizing at the time. And I wasn't around my family, and I felt like I wasn't having enough input from different ages and different kinds of people that come from different backgrounds, which throughout my life, I felt like I experienced that a lot. And walking into the Held2gether situation provided that. And you kind of get forced to be together, but when you're performing, everybody becomes the same age. Everybody is playing at the same level. So your brain is fired so much more often than it is in your regular structured life when you're trying to be somewhere and make money and be this person you always thought you were supposed to be. You get to let go of that because becoming an adult is complicated, and all it does is get more complicated as you get older. So personally for me, it really opened up that.
The Held2gether troupe is very important to the community, and it's really wonderful that they've been able to maintain their shows and go in, you know, to a second season on Zoom. But, you know, our community to some extent is suffering by COVID, and the fact that they can't perform live at Hot Java is a real hit for so many people. You know, I would just go there. I'm a student, but I would go there to watch them just to, you know, get entertained and just forget about what's going on and just be amazed by their quick wit, the performances and the characters. And it was all of us getting together, and that energy combined is a community within itself.
It's like having a hangout that you think you lost. You know, you're young, you always have hangouts. That's our hangout. Yeah.
I think what Darren created is really of Long Beach. You know, I think that Held2gether is very much Long Beach. And I think that representing the community this way feels organic, feels fun. And like people have said, there's no glitz or gloss or, you know, neurosis. I mean, yeah, some of us are, but the point is, it's really something that is very much about Long Beach, about the community, and you feel that connection. And I think that's what makes it unique.
Yeah, especially in this day and age, right? It's so easy to be lost in the digital world and feel very isolated. And as an adult, personally, I've really found it very difficult to make friends because you're not in a school environment where you're surrounded by people, you know, of your own age anymore. And as an adult, you're very kind of isolated, especially during the times that we're living in now. So the fact that I was able to find a place where it brought so many people together from all these different walks of life, it kind of felt like school, like college again, only with people like around my own age. But it was also very diverse too. So I've become friends with people that I may not have ever met or crossed paths with, which is really sort of improved my friend base and life and experience in this city. I just feel I feel a lot more welcomed here. Because I'm not a Long Beach resident, but I live close. But I feel like I'm a part of the city because I'm a part of Held Together.
And just personally, each one of these people makes me laugh. You know, they have different things they do that I find so funny. And then, you know, when you get to see that, it's like selfishly, I'm like, they're putting on a show for me, but I get to be in the show with them. But it's, you know, it's just, you just get to know people, and in a way that, you know, where you have that freedom to be so silly and so over the top and so out there, you know, that you embarrass yourself all the time. And I think that's kind of how we get comfortable with each other, and the funny comes from that.
I also really enjoy when we're thrown under a bus, but we all enjoy it, I think.
And getting thrown under the bus in this community, really, you know, it's a gift, because no matter how you respond to it, it's going to get yes and heightened. You know what I mean? So you can never go wrong. You just feel comfortable opening up the purge valve and letting it go.
And people will still think that somehow it was planned over the years, you know, doing these shows. People still will go, are you sure that wasn't scripted? Are you sure? And I go, no, it wasn't. Because it's so organic.
And to prepare, you know, we do have rehearsals, and each, you know, with each class we practice. We've been doing partial and full run-throughs. You know, we've been really kind of breaking down loose story structures. But when we get to the actual performance state, you know, all of the suggestions are coming to us in real time. So, you know, we get it right before the show. We're assigned characters right in the moment, and it's just like, all right, I'm the melodramatic teen, and this person's my dad, you know. And so that's something that we get in the moment. So we may have been rehearsing and practicing a structure along the line, but everything really truly is made up on the spot, which just adds to that excitement. And as an audience member, you're watching it and you know they're making it up, and I think that's what makes it so much more fun, because you're like, oh my gosh, like, how is this happening, right? And it's pretty cool as a performer to be a part of that. We created this collectively, you know, like, what a story that just came out of nowhere.
I want the audience to laugh the entire time. I, prior to being in shows, I would go, like Brody said, go to Hot Java, go to all the shows, you know, before Darren really opened up his little theater and he started to have regular shows. It wasn't as often, but I still went to all of them all over the city, and I would laugh through the entire thing, and everybody did. And at that time, even now, then I needed it more than I can tell you. So I went to everything Darren Held did. Didn't matter what it was. And now that I'm doing it, that's what I want. I want people to walk in sit down, you start, they start laughing, and they laugh through the whole show. Because it's the best therapy you can give yourself is a good laugh.
Yeah, I agree with Mary Beth. It's just to have fun. Just do something different, have a good time. It's not about this super polished production value. It's just a bunch of people who really enjoy each other's company, having a good time, and hoping you can kind of join them and enjoy it too.
Yeah, especially during this time, right? I mean, regardless of where you're at politically, it's a very tense time. People are having a very difficult time. A lot of arguing and tension and anger. And then with COVID, right, there's a lot of fear. So as many outlets and opportunities that a person can have to just laugh and let go, I think is absolutely key for self-care, for mental health. It's huge. So I think I would love for just to provide an escape for whoever watches it for that brief period, that brief hour, for them to just not think about all the other stuff that's going on in the world.
You know what I want the audience to do? I want them to be surprised by us. In other words, a lot of our audience has seen these things before, or they're our friends or our family, they know us. But I think what makes it even funnier is when not only is that person being funny, but they're being a way that you've never seen them be before. They're, putting on some character or taking on some physicality or doing, something with their voice or the language they use, whatever it is. It's like, oh my God, I've never seen you do that. And it makes it just even better. So that's what I'm always hoping for. Surprise.
I'm kind of hoping for people to get those moments, that one or two lines that is in almost every improv production where people are like, I'm going to be quoting that for at least a week and a half. So, that's just what I hope the audience gets out of it.
Tell us why the Long Beach should get more involved with Held2gether Improv Company.
That's interesting. There was a period a few years ago where a connection was made between the city of Long Beach, the people who worked for the city of Long Beach, the managers, and the troupe. And the troupe was hired to perform at their annual retreat. They did a couple of years in a row. And I think that sort of put us on the map a little bit in terms of the city knowing who we are. But I think it can go further. And I think a way to help the community in other aspects of life in Long Beach with improv. I mean, annually we do a benefit for the Women's Shelter of Long Beach, stuff like that. So I think, it could go deeper, it can go more, it can go everywhere, basically, because it's for life. It's doing improv for life skills, basically. We all need those.
I think, we've all said, it really builds a sense of community. And I think anything that helps to build that sense of community helps the city, because if people are involved with the community within the city they live in or live nearby, it just helps to boost things, because, as we've all said, you meet people and individuals that you would not have met otherwise. I mean, you all live in the same place, but your paths, likely would never have crossed.
It's actually something that, that Brian mentioned. And I think Held2gether, it means some of the same things for everybody, but I think we each also get really what we need out of it. The community part has been mentioned. I think for a lot of people, myself included, It's a really important mental health resource because you are around those people, because you do get to play and have fun, but you're also bettering a skill that you have. And so it's, to have a strong mental health network in a community means a lot of things. It means having medical resources, but it also means having opportunities to come and when you live in a big city, but to build a network of people that you care about and they care about you. And that's a chance to, be a little bit different and have some fun. And I think it's a really important part of that network that's inclusive for all. You're not going to an audition and you didn't make it. No, you show up, you're part of the family.
Tell me why more Long Beach residents should try the classes.
Well, I think if you just go to the introduction, that free introduction class, and you go in there and you just get a sense of what's going on, you're going to want to come back. That's what I think and feel. I mean, I felt that way just going to my first class with Kendra Nicholson. I did, and I just wanted to keep coming back. So I just want to encourage you. You would feel the vibe if you showed up. You'd totally get what we're talking about. Either Richard or Darren leading the class and who's ever in there.
Yeah, I think people should take this class because this group is very representative of it. There's so many, we all have different reasons. We all have different backgrounds of where we came from and why we took this class. Some for professional reasons or social reasons, some to get more in touch, like for myself, to get more in touch with my creative past. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you do for a living, where you live. Irregardless of what your path is in life, improv can benefit it. It serves a purpose. It is a very useful tool, incredibly utilitarian, because social skills, conversation skills, being able to think on your feet, be more creative. Businesses pay hundreds of thousands of dollars on trainings each year, for their for their workers to take creativity classes. This is huge, and it's super accessible. And if you can't afford it, there's scholarships. So it's super welcoming. It's super affordable. It's a great resource. I think that literally everybody should take improv in some way, shape, or form. And Held2gether is just a great place to do it in a much less intimidating environment.
And the thing about improv, you can't do improv if you're not listening. It's just listening. You just have to listen. And I think if, as a society, as a community, if we just listened more to each other, we probably accomplish. And that's a skill that's really getting lost these days. And I think it would be, I think it would benefit people to learn how to listen. Something can come from that.
I just also want to add to this, to what everyone's saying is, because for me personally, before I started improv, I'm professionally, I'm very type A. And going into improv, I didn't know what exactly I was going to get myself into, because my whole goal was to just work on public speaking and get in and get out. And the last 3 years of my life has changed dramatically, because I have learned so much about myself, about just being much more relaxed and just being able to, just like what everyone's saying, is being able to really listen to people and really get to know yourself on an individual level, while you're doing improv. Because I'm not an actor. I don't know how to act. That's not my thing. I take care of people. I work in healthcare. And doing improv has really put me on a different platform and really made me realize, I can really expand my horizons, and I can do things that, that I never thought I would be able to ever do. And I always tell people, when, you should do improv just for the heck of it. Why? Just because it's not that you have like a goal. It's just that you're doing it just so that you can prove to yourself that you're more than what you just think, you know, especially in a professional level. It really takes you out of yourself and puts you in a whole different world. And the best thing about Held2gether and this community is that, you know, Darren and Richard have done such a tremendous job. They're just such kind people. And being able to, you know, I remember my first day of improv class, and before I went to improv class, Richard actually called me, and I was like, who is this guy calling me? Well, what does he want? And he called me, you know, because that's his thing. He just calls his first-time students and tells, you know, says, you know, this is what we're going to do. Just want to kind of get to know you. And for me as a professional, especially working in healthcare, like, you know, I really appreciated that, because for me, that showed like this, you know, Held2gether really have really strong work ethics, and they really care about the people that come in. It's not about, you know, they want to, you know, whether if you want to pursue acting or go into the arts or whatever, that's great. But if you're just someone like me who just wants to try something different and just want to, you know, meet new people, like it's such a welcoming community. And every single one of these individuals that I've been playing improv with for the last couple of weeks, especially with the soap opera show, you know, it's been such a blessing for me, you know, and especially during this time with COVID, and I was supposed to get married this year. I had to cancel my wedding, and I'm so grateful that I had the Held2gether community, because it's been a tough year for me, and I know people have it worse, but I'm just so happy that I could lean on my Held2gether community for this, because it's I think without them, it would have been really hard for me. So thank you.
The Held2gether mantra is improv for life. Tell me what that means to you.
Improv for life means to me, that's one of the reasons I signed up when I went after the introductory class, is because I realized early on that this was going to give me a better communication skill. It's going to add to my everyday life. As opposed to when you look at people on TV or UCB or Second City, it's these bunch of 22-year-olds, and it's usually guys. Now there's lots of women, but when I was younger, it was mostly young guys just doing improv, and it was like not a relatable thing. And then when Darren does the introductory class, I know Darren and Richard do it now, but in the past it was just Darren. You could see right away, I could feel it from him. He was trying to give back to people something he learned. And it wasn't about being a performer. It was about being a happier person. And that's what I felt right away from him. So that's what improv for life meant to me.
I didn't have a clue. What are they talking about? Improv for life. You know, what does that mean? But, you know, you hear what Anne was saying, and Brian and Aaron and everybody, learning to listen and then respond to what you're hearing, you know, is a skill. I mean, so what it means for me now is I got married in February, and we don't live together. That's our arrangement, but I'm trying to get her to go to improv classes to take our communication to a better level.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it would just help. It would help us. We could play together with it, but it would really help us just in general, talking about something specific and keeping on that subject and really listening and keying in. That's what it means for me.
We've had lots of couples in, you know, throughout the years. But, you know, for me, it just dawned on me during, you know, these pandemic days. For life, what it means is that it's for life. You're not really finished. You're always learning. You're never done. There's always more. There's always something else. And those are the best kinds of discipline to learn, you know, where you can, there's just always room for more, for just to be more everything, more real, more nuanced, more, you know, it doesn't matter. You keep finding things. And so that's how I think of it for life. It's like, okay, yeah, until the end.
No, life is difficult, especially as an adult, right? It's just is difficult. It doesn't mean it's not good. It's hard. And I think in my opinion, the most vital skill for a human being to get through this life and live the best life they can is resilience. Is to be able to bounce back from the difficulties that they will inevitably face. And to me, improv is the vital component that allows someone to build up and strengthen their resilience, because that is the whole point, is you go with the flow, you go with what's thrown at you, you take it, and instead of deflecting or pushing away or resisting it, the whole point is to open up and to say yes, and you add to it, and you keep building instead of shrinking, And so to me, that's the one vital component. If I had to do anything to improve my life, I think, and I know this sounds corny, but it's true, is it would be improv. I do feel like it improves every single area of my life.
I think it also works as a good like pressure valve kind of thing. Because like, when's the last time any of us played pretend? Well, in this room, it's everybody. We do it all the time, but like a lot of adults don't get that anymore. Like when you were 6 or 7, you could be anything on that playground, and you could have those adventures. And then as you grow older, you lose. I feel like a lot of people lose that, and that's why a lot of people like, oh, I turn to Netflix, I turn on all these shows, and I want that. And now, like a lot of us can be that and have that, like, and it just feels like it like lifts you up a little bit. And like I said, like a valve, it just takes a little bit of pressure off your shoulders, off your heart, and it just improves your life so much, I think, in all these different ways, and that's amazing to me.
Can't say it better than they did.
Hey, if you want to learn more about Held Together Improv for Life, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HELD2gether. You can also look at Held2gether.com and sign up for our newsletter and see all of the happenings that are going on.
If taking improv classes with Held Together sounds like something that you might want to try, I recommend checking out our website. That's www.held2gether.com. That's held, the number 2, gether.com. You can also check out our Held Apart show on YouTube at youtube.com/held2gether. And you can also find us on all the social media pages if you search Held Together on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Hey, if you want to learn more about Held Together Improv for Life, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HELD2gether. You can also look at Held2gether.com and sign up for our newsletter and see all of the happenings that are going on.